All right, here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see everybody's faces. Still got a few coming in. Welcome, welcome.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hey.
There we go. Got my video on.
Hey, everybody.
Cool.
Hi, morning.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, Carol. I know we got two Jens. What are we going to do?
Hi, new Jen.
I'll be classic Jen. How's that?
Okay, you are a classic for sure.
Thank you. I'll be classic Jen. That'll be Jen because she has two N's. How's
Yes.
that? Green.
That used to be my, as a child, that was my nickname, Jen. So,
Was it? Oh,
yes.
good.
And then we have Jenny. Jenny, is that a virtual backdrop or are you sitting in your yard?
This is my real backyard.
Hey, there you go.
Spectacular.
Lucky for you.
Yeah,
Nice.
It's beautiful in Colorado today.
Nice.
Trying to get everybody on one screen in this crazy thing. So
If you figure that out, Jen, let me know.
I know. It's like I started and said, "Hey, you guys, we are so not totally committed to this this Teams platform. So we'll just give it its its trial run, and if the consensus is now we'd rather try and do Zoom, then I'm totally on board with that. But I just felt like giving it its the college try, as it were. And I think I'm like frozen half the time. This would be cool. But so it's 4 minutes after. There's nobody else in the waiting room, and I just really wanted. We'll go ahead and get started. Is everybody sharing their videos? I think so.
I'm not seeing Nichols. I'm not seeing.
You're not seeing, me?
Bud.
Okay.
No.
All right. What do I need to do? I'm seeing
It's like
you.
a camera button
Yeah.
on the top right.
Yeah, up in the top right corner, there's like a mic, and then next to the left
Aha.
of that little.
Got it. Turn camera on.
Yay, welcome.
We usually use Zoom as well. So thank you.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so we're all like learning and in this together. That's fantastic. All right. So thanks everyone for joining with us. I'm not going to belabor all of the guidelines. That's why I sent them all ahead of time. And the one thing I am going to ask to kind of add on, just so that everyone else can. Oh, there's Tim. So that everyone else can get to know each other. And it's great that y'all were able to get your names underneath your images. So I think we should be good there. But I think it would just be helpful as we kind of learn and because we're meeting once a month, just if you can, when you go to share, if you can say your name and where you're from, and then we can kind of get to know each other in that regard as well. Because I know all of y'all, so I've got a couple legs up on you already. But that's kind of the point, is to get everyone connected and get everyone going. So, so I know this whole mute thing is a bit new in Teams as well. So Jim, as my co-facilitator for our group, he may come in and kind of mute everyone as we get started into our conversation. So you'll just want to be kind of mindful of if you go to share, just to make sure that you are able to remove the mute. We'll all help each other out, though. That's the way things like this go, right? That's what we're all learning about these platforms. It's so interesting for me because there's so much facial hair on all you gentlemen. It's so incredible. the quarantine cover, I guess. I don't know. And then, all of us ladies, our natural hair color is coming out at this point, right? So all these changes in things that we don't normally, that we kind of just normally take for granted. So at any rate, welcome, and thank you again. Can't thank you guys enough for joining us in these conversations. The topics that you guys all sent in were really interesting and timely, and so the ones that we selected to kind of get all of our groups started out on a similar leg and pace is kind of what you've been learning so far through the pandemic, and so that's going to be sort of our focus on, at least on this initial meeting. We're just going to start with the top question, and I'll ask what you've learned from the pandemic that your business truly needs. And by that, is there something that was not in the forefront of your mind when we started into this in February, March, that you've come to realize as we've all proceeded through this, that your business really needs? And I will keep an eye out, as well as Jim, for any hand raises. If there's anybody that wants to kind of jump and get started. You can take yourself off. There we go, Bud.
Can you unmute? Yeah, there we go.
Just did it. Yes, thank you, Jim. So I think really the very obvious thing for probably most everyone in this industry, and whether or not we're going to accomplish it and whether it can be done in a way that makes sense, but wouldn't it be great if we had a more diversified business and business base, so that should something, heaven forbid, like this happen again, we aren't all just sort of stuck like a deer in the headlights saying, what the hell happened to all my business, and how am I going to manage all my overhead now? How great it would be to have something that maybe is 25% or a third of your business that's in an area unrelated to trade shows or events, that would have kept your core employees engaged, employed, and off of unemployment, and still available to you whenever it happens, when exhibits swing back. So that's probably I don't know that that's learning anything in particular, but it's just sort of a glaring negative of our business model, at least for our company. We're in, by the way, we're in Chicago, and we're a small portable and custom exhibit house. We have custom capabilities. We've been in business. My wife and I are partners. We've been in business for 24 years. So that was the thing for me that was just glaring. It's like, man, we really got caught flat-footed here. I just did not expect this, nor did I ever anticipate in our lifetime this would be the case. But that's kind of it. So now we're trying. The big thing for us now, we did a big move up to a lot more space. We have 72,000 square feet. We don't need 72,000 square feet. We didn't really even need it before. We were anticipating doubling and needing that much space. And now it's subletting the space, which we just did 16,000 square feet sublet as a storage client, not really sublet, but as a storage client for an unrelated industry. And we've freed up another 12,000 square feet that we're going to put up as a storage client. Hopefully we'll find one sometime pretty soon.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's a great point. Robin, go ahead and jump in if you're able to unmute yourself.
Sorry, I thought I was unmuted.
Great.
Hey, gosh, Bud, what a great idea. I mean, yeah, you get this warehouse space and it's just sitting there. That's a great thought. I was impressed with that. That's a good idea. It's just been such a, halt of the brakes for our industry, as we all know. One of the things that I started a new job in the pandemic after 16 years with my previous company. Crazy, but one of the things that I've focused on throughout has been ties in with trade shows. We all know how to make logos and graphics and what have you. And so getting into that side of things, and I'm always glad to help anybody that's interested. It's definitely maybe that 25% you're talking about. In pre-pandemic, it was a good 50 to 60 for me. And so I wanted to mention that to you guys. It's a way to supplement and keep things going and keep the machines rolling,
Yeah. No, and go ahead, Carol. Did I see you raise your hand? Sorry, I thought another hand was raised up there. Okay.
No, that was me. Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I was kind of playing around with the mute button there. So Robin, I have also done some work in environments. Personally, I'm finding they're struggling too. I mean, this is a large struggle. One of my clients is an aquarium, one of the 5th largest aquarium in the United States, and they're closed because of this. And how they're, when you think you got problems, you look at someone else's problems, and they got sharks and sea turtles and vets and everything else they're trying to keep, but they can't furlough them. Yeah. So, everyone's having challenges. But I would say the thing that I've learned, because I think this is unprecedented, and even when, other, as you said, Bud, other business models and stuff, but what I've observed is the psyche of the individual. And I think all of us on this call are probably here because we do have that personality that says, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to do some pivots. I'm going to make the best of the situation. And I've really seen a mix out there. Some people, I call them just really head in the sand of, I'm not going to do anything. And, I have my CNC machine and I'm just quiet until it comes back to trade shows. And then there's those who say, like, I can pivot, I can dance, I'm just going to be there for my clients in whatever way they need me, and trying to work through that. And I think ultimately, from a business perspective, that's what's going to keep us all alive and strong and moving forward as businesses, is that mental health attitude that says, I can do the shuffle, I can figure this out.
Definitely.
Okay. Sorry, one of our team members is having a hard time getting into the group here, and so this actually brings up a good point. I'm going to take a minute and Jim, ask you to kind of monitor things here while I get Krista in. But if you guys ever have a hard time getting into a meeting or there's something that comes up, text me. My cell number is in my signature on the email, but I'm going to also have Jim, because he's going to be our co-facilitator for our meetings. I'm going to have him put his cell number in as well, in case y'all need anything during the duration. And you know, like in Krista's situation, she can't get into the meeting. So, and if you can do that in the chat, Jim, that would be really great as well.
Okay.
But yeah, anybody else while I'm
Looks like
working with Krista?
Derek might have something here.
Okay.
Yeah, let me see if it unmutes.
Yeah, you good.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Like Bud, we're also a smaller family-owned and operated custom display house here in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. And what we actually found out was we thought we had a lot of diversity in client base. As most of our business actually comes from a lot of the larger display companies as a supplemental fabricator and service provider here in the Pittsburgh market. What we saw was that as our clients started to be affected by COVID, our third-party clients then also had a ripple effect. So something that, just like Bud, we've done the same thing. We've started leasing out our space to non-industry related people. We have 100,000 square foot here. We got hit with, we used to do a lot of work with the movie industry here in the Pittsburgh market. They got hit just as hard. So they're in the process of moving out and the new tenants actually moving in. But something that we, in the spinning of using our equipment and our carpenters and our skilled tradesmen here, something that we started looking into that we would have never looked into in the past was making furniture. The world needed PPP equipment and we all jumped on it. We actually started producing desks. We have CNCs, we have melamines, all of us have that and have access to it. So that was something that we never thought at our price points we would have been able to be competitive enough to even consider it. And that was something we were actually shocked to find out that, wow, we actually are. So
That's great.
it was something else that we've looked at that, is it going to be a saving parachute? No. But is it helping us keep more of the core group working and keeping our mental stability through the whole process? Yes.
Awesome. And that'll go on and continue, which will be a great benefit.
Yeah.
Jen, it looks like David has his hand up.
Well, Jen had her.
Oh, okay.
Who wants to go first?
Ladies first, always.
Thank you very much. So I'm having the opposite problem with the space. I need more. So we're a very, very small company located in Georgia, with about 8,000 square feet of warehouse space. And with all of our clients being in storage is now not on the road, traveling from one show to another, I'm like busting out the door. Like I've rented a 53-foot trailer sitting at one of my docks. I've subleased a warehouse next door to try to, take some of that. But what we have done is we've always been a dual company where we're a distributor, but we also do promotional products. So that's been helpful because I've pretty much been running a fulfillment center for the past 10 years of promotional products for all of our clients, that have trade show displays, but also I have some that just have promotional products. So they are ordering that stuff, and when Wright's hymns, March area timeline, they had ordered a lot for the whole year. And so all of that stuff is here now, which they've pretty done really well with getting through it and me packing and shipping orders consistently on a weekly basis. So that's been nice. But the warehouse space has been an issue, and you can't find anything for the price because we need to keep our costs down. So, but that's been one of our things we're having to deal with here.
Oh, there's Bud again. I think David was waiting for Jen. Yeah.
Oh, well, nice to meet everybody. David Schiller here, Southern California. We've been in business. We're a large format printer in Southern California. And right before the pandemic, we opened our second facility in Las Vegas in December, which we thought was a great time. We were growing as a business. And so now we have two 55,000 square foot facilities in both Vegas and Southern California. When the pandemic started, we started to get into PPE, but we kind of saw that everybody was getting into that, including our clients, exhibit houses. And what we tried to do was pivot into, just as I think her name was Robin, I apologize, in regards to doing more environments for a lot of our clients, headquarter graphics. We're also fortunate enough in our Southern California facility where we do litho. So we do catalogs and everything to that extent in-house as well. So we've had our sales staff do that. But I think the big thing I've learned through this is it's more in personal. I'll start personal wise. I think family, in our industry, we're always going hard, and we're answering those calls 24/7, and we're pushing it. We're always telling our clients, yes, yes, yes. And we make it happen. And it's part of what all of our successes are. But what I've learned is in business, but also personal, is more to slow down, get it right, and be more personal with my clients. I've been able to establish more, I think, stronger, healthier relationships with all my clients through this, by calling them, reviewing what we're all going under, just like we're doing as people now. And I've been doing that with our clients. I think it's important. I think it's going to be part of our success going forward, strengthening our relationships. It's not using people, but it's just a human, and you have to be human now. And I have two kids, they're 12 and 9. So I feel like my relationship with my wife and my two kids, that has also gotten me stronger through this. And I think if we do that personally and in our business, it'll lead to success for all of us. And in regards to work, we're probably about at 40% of where we're at. In Vegas, we've done a lot of pivoting. Obviously, there's no shows going out there. We're doing a lot of more casino work right now. So we've been really, really fortunate on that end. And, our goal is just to, make $1 a month, or lose $1 a month. So we're just looking to each month get there and just get there in however we can. We've done Nike has had a new headquarters out here in Culver City. We've been fortunate enough to been working on that project. With the Lakers, I'm not a big Laker fan. They've been having a lot of experiential events lately. We've been doing that stuff for several of our clients. And I think in regards to strength of relationship and all of us making our calls, I think as we get out of it and as our clients pivot to do other things as well, we always want to be the first ones they think of. So I just stay active with all of our clients. I'm telling our sales staff all of that, and we're just hitting a little bit more on social media as a team. So, that's who we are.
I think that's a great point, because I've often thought through this that that it's totally personal. Like everything is that personal has, there she is. That personal has, Chris is joining us, sorry. That personal has come right straight to the forefront of where we're at, and sort of has helped us drive, you know, all the things that we're doing, more so than I think it has ever. And I know that was something for me that I always had strived for prior to the pandemic, but really has come full circle and is right at the forefront of really everything. Every connection is personal. Every connection is personal for me right now. So again, that's why it was important to do this with you all and get your perspectives. So Krista's with us, yay. That'll be one big red no next to the let's use Microsoft Teams for moving forward. So I'm sorry that you were not successful, but we're glad you're here. That's so great. Anybody else before we kind of move into maybe one of the other topics, or, oh yeah, Bud.
Just quickly, for clarification, I think Robin and Carol, you mentioned environments, and I just want to make sure I'm clear on what your definition of environments might be. You mentioned museums. I'm thinking corporate build out as well. Are there other things, maybe David, you'd have some perspective here. What else are you considering in the bucket of environments?
We're doing a lot of headquarters. We're doing a lot of, I think like you're saying with headquarters, in regards to environments, we're doing a lot of store sets. I think we're doing a pivot to outdoor events. A lot of our clients, experiential clients, are doing, let's say, Halloween events going on now. And we're doing a bunch of banners for those kind of clients that are having places are having where children and cars can drive up. So they're doing all those. I think that'll happen for Thanksgiving. I think that'll happen for Christmas as we come up. And we're trying to, pivot to we're printers, so we're not going to manage the event and be out there installing, but we're helping our clients with that. And they're asking us, what kind of materials to use, where's mesh, what's going to withstand this kind of environment, meaning outdoors. So we're doing a lot more stuff outdoors, which we're capable of doing, but it seems like events are pivoting more outdoors now for the drive-through.
Yeah.
Jenny, sorry. Go ahead, Jenny or Rob. I knew Jenny had her hand up and then lowered it. So.
No worries. Hey, thanks, Jen. I'm Jenny Cohn from Condit Exhibits in Denver. We're a medium-sized exhibit house and experienced a lot of growth over the past decade. And we too made an acquisition, a purchase of a small exhibit house in Chicago last September, thinking that we were so well positioned for the continued growth that we were going to have, just given that we were at full capacity at our facility in Denver and we were bursting at the seams. So obviously then COVID happened and it's a different ballgame now. But I just wanted to offer one, not piece of advice, but just a pivot that we've made recently is we had some connections to architecture firms and general contractors in the Denver market. And it was specifically through one of our estimators who'd sort of worked in that field in the past. And so we actually were able to win a number of different jobs to produce custom millwork for those permanent installations in commercial settings. It's obviously none of us are assembly lines, right? We do custom work. So it's not as profitable as you can imagine as a trade show piece of business, but it has kept the lights on, at least in the shop. And so we are producing, cabinets, countertops, custom signage, just various things, metalwork, door frames. I mean, anything that we can get our hands on. If you send that as a print, we'll give you a lowball number, and we're really just trying to cover our labor costs and material costs at this point. I mean, we're basically doing these jobs at zero margin just so that we can keep those people employed. So that has worked for us. And I think that commercial construction is in a weird space right now with the pandemic. Most of those projects are multi-million-dollar, $100 million projects, and all of them are previously funded moving into the pandemic. And so they're committed to seeing them through to the end. And so I think there's this interesting space right now where we can fit in and we can provide overflow for some of those local cabinet shops that can't handle the work and frankly aren't well positioned. We're finding that a lot of times a general contractor has to piecemeal work out to 3 or 5 different contractors when they could just come to us and we can be turnkey. So we've been able to really capitalize on that opportunity, at least in the Denver market locally. And I'm afraid that the construction bubble is going to burst in 2021. So we're trying to really get in there right now and make it happen. And at least, like I said, keep the lights on, keep the saws moving in the meantime. I don't think it's very sustainable to think that would become a big chunk of our business moving forward, right? Knock on wood when shows come back. I'm hoping that it still may be a small part, but it's just there are no margins to be made in that line of work. But it's been enough to keep us moving right now. So yeah, that's been good.
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. Robin.
Robin, your mute is still on. There you go.
What the heck? It keeps going on and off. Sorry.
That's all good.
No, you can hear me? Okay. I was going to say I've been working with general contractors and architects for about 5 years. And there's you have to remember that whole industry was not shut down at all. Because like you said, Jenny, those contracts were already out there. And you'd be surprised at the amount of business that's still being built, even in a pandemic. And the thing I wanted to mention is keep in mind that even though a lot of people are working remotely, those offices are still preparing for them to go back with changes. So that means they're remodeling, they're redoing layouts of rooms and buildings and conference rooms and everything, which says graphics. I mean, there's a lot of business to be had. I personally haven't been able to really make money on the millwork, like you said, Jenny. There's so many we're in Houston. I didn't say that, but there's so many, like wholesale millwork companies here that just you can't beat their pricing. But we at Point Smith, we have been able to have a niche in the unique things that like a normal mill worker can't do. And so I just wanted to mention that, just think about all the offices that have had to close down and they're getting ready to start back up whenever that may be. We hope maybe in a month or two, who knows? But they have to prepare for those workers to still be that 6 foot apart. So that changes their entire floor plan layouts. I've actually got a few clients that had to take 3 more floors just to accommodate that kind of stuff, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of wanted to explain myself.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. That's a good clarification, because I think that, space is how we view space, I think, is one of those needs. And Bud, you started us off in that direction too. And now we're kind of coming back full circle again, is that, it was one of those things that you knew your business needed, right? But the way in which it's getting utilized and the way in which your clients utilizing their space and to Robin's point, needing more space. Bud, you saying that you took on more space to help that diversification. I think that's an interesting. I think that's an interesting piece that that isn't maybe so obvious or maybe at the top of your minds as something that is needed, right? you have a fairly substantial spot in the world in your neck of the woods. I mean, have you done anything different with and I only say this because I remember being super impressed with all of the space that you had and how you were utilizing it when I came for a visit. And so I just wondered if there was anything else that, Derek, you could add or give insight to before we kind of leave this topic.
Not really, other than find someone to use it at this point.
So you're in the find somebody to use it.
We're in the find somebody to use it. Luckily, our space, we're able to expand and contract quickly.
Yeah.
When we opened the family business in '84, we had a very simple policy when it came to property. 1, own it, don't rent it. And 2, make certain that you can turn sections on and off quickly. So when you were here to visit, we were in an expansion. We had people using all kinds of different sections. Now you can hear a pin drop in quite a few sections of the building. And our shop hasn't been this clean since probably '83, before we bought the building. Yeah, really, that's the key right now, is being flexible. The more flexible we are in our industry, and the more we stick with our natural gut problem solvers. All of us are great at standing on the show floor, clients screaming, pulling their hair out. We go, calm down, have a coffee. We'll have it solved by the time you get back. That's the policy I've been taking since March. Granted, we've had ups and down days between since then, and days where you walk in and you go, oh crap, it didn't burn down overnight. That would be an easy out. But yeah, it's more of every day I come in and we throw everything we can at the wall to see what sticks. We've done like everybody else, adapt, overcome, and see what tomorrow will bring. And with any luck, some of the early reports will all be back on the show floor soon.
Yeah.
But space-wise, if you know anybody who needs it in the Pittsburgh area, we got plenty.
Come on over to your house.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
We got plenty over here.
So that kind of is in a weird way sort of leads us into the next question, which was, what are some of the things that you discovered you don't really need in current time? So has there been anything that's come to the forefront for any of you that you're like, yeah, we don't really need this as much as we thought we did, or we've been able to utilize it in a different way? Anything come up? Dave Schiller.
Probably doesn't sound like the friendliest comments I'm going to make here, even though, it's important to say this. Before pre-COVID, we had maybe about 110 employees in both of our facilities. What we found out with as a company while we were going through this, like how much more we were getting done after we unfortunately had to make some cuts. We changed the way we worked. We had to work, I think, a lot more resourceful. We had to make a lot more changes. And while we're sad about, doesn't mean the people that we had to let go were poor or bad or anything to that extent. We had to pivot as a business it forced us to work smarter, healthier. And it's probably even after when we do come back. And as we've been coming back, I should say, we've been hiring our own people back. We're not hiring outside, so we're hiring our own people back. We're just working a lot more smarter in terms of there's all new SOPs at our company in terms of our jobs. Other thing that hurt us as well, while certain of our employees who had left or we furloughed, one of the things we did was also let each one of them know, if they're going out for other jobs, use us as a resource. We want to help you get jobs if they're out there. And a couple of my project managers who we did furlough, they ended up, had to write them amazing, letters of referrals, recommendations. And I was glad to do that. I think it's great. And believe it or not, one of them is actually a client of ours right now. We're doing a job for them. So, I think coming out of this I think we all should be better run. I think our floor is as clean as it's ever been in regards to how we do things, how we situate stuff, when we receive, whether it's foam core, cinch, or wood, how we're, everything's coming in. So in a weird way, I think we'll be run better. We're hoping that our clients, when we get the opportunity to keep on working, they'll see that and they'll know that. We're just excited to get going. It's hurtful to say those words because I think, I'm so personal. When we had to let people go, I always say it's March 13th when we had like I say, our first cut. That day wasn't a good cut for us. It was kind of like I went home teary-eyed, crying, and just all that stuff. Because personally, I took it on like I failed, and I still do in some ways. So it's kind of why I'm always in the office. I can't work at home. I feel like working at home for me is I love my children, I love my wife, but I just need to come to work and bust butt. And I feel like I'm working hard when I'm here. And I think my employees feel it. And it's kind of like why, I think it's my way of saying to myself, I'm going to get through it. So that's it.
Thanks, David. Derek.
I'm with David on this one. That was one of the big eye openers that we had, was that for a company that started off very small, and it was all about efficiencies, we ran so busy and at full tilt for so long that we started hearing, well, we do it this way because we've always done it this way. So we did the exact same thing. I mean, we had a wall in our production facility for 22 years. That wall's no longer gone simply because we found out that if it wasn't there and it was serving no purpose, it actually gave us better flow in our shop. But the downtime we have now, we would have never seen it. So that's really the interesting part of this all for me. I'm second generation. The trade show industry is literally all I know. I'm excited to go to the convention center in 2 weeks, not for a show. I have jury duty there, but I'm thrilled just to go to the convention center.
Yeah.
I think our industry needed the downtime.
Maybe not this long, though.
Maybe not this long, but I think we all needed a little bit of a downtime to reset the creativity levels, to reset how we think about the industry and the relationships, and also to remind us, like David pointed out, that, we need to make time for our family. And maybe now we'll all have a little easier time saying no occasionally. We're built around the always saying yes, but maybe our industry does need to say no, because this week it's, oh, can you have it done by Wednesday? Next week it's, can you have it done by Tuesday? The week after that is, yeah, I know I just told you, is it on the truck yet?
Yeah.
We have the ability to slow that down, and that's really what this pandemic has shown us, is that we can get done more with less, and also it's okay to slow down. Maybe just not for 8 months.
Yeah. No doubt.
Well, I think to your point, Derek, I think, for so many years, we did have sort of that break, right? Shows didn't really happen in kind of June, July timeframe. And so we did, for those of us that have been in, since we were 12, right? We did have that little bit of a break, and we were able to kind of retool things, and it's probably at least the last 10 years, if not more, that we've had those increasing, the shows we're going longer into that time frame, to where there was probably, for many of you guys, no breathing room at all. There was no off season for trade shows, so that it was always busy, always. So I've heard that similar theme in just some of the other conversations outside of this group that I've had with other distributor partners, is that we've made use of this time to come about with new processes. I really liked what you said, and I think it bears repeating again, to reset those creativity levels. I think was a really great way of putting it, Derek, because we are from the guys on the floor to, it trickles all the way up. It's creativity through and through, and so to allow for that reset, I think has been super important. Jenny, you got your hand raised.
I do, thanks. One thing I wanted to mention that we've discovered that I guess we don't necessarily need is that we don't have to have the entire crew in the office all the time. I think obviously we've all realized that, yep, we can figure out how to work remotely. Clearly, when we're not busy, we can all work remotely. I'm interested to see what it's going to be like when we get back to it, and we try to decide what percentage of people can be in the office and who needs to stay home, and how can that still works. I mean, if you told me, again, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, before this happened, that everyone would be working from home, I would have told you were crazy. I think it has exposed some things within our business where we were not tech savvy in a lot of areas, and we weren't necessarily prepared to go remote, and it was pretty painful at the beginning, right? Access to our internal network. And we had issues with even getting everyone a machine, a laptop to have at home. We just weren't dialed in to some of the tech forward ways of doing business. So I think that, again, that exposed our level of risk there, and we found ways to get around it. So that's been really good. I will say something about culture and people, and it's something that I try to sort of take to heart in our business. We don't have an HR department. And so I've tried in my role to sort of be the people person. And, one thing I really miss is the collaboration, the face-to-face collaboration. I mean, that's the business that we're in. And so even when we come back to it, I feel like being physically present is so important. And I think it creates efficiencies, and in some ways makes us less, creates inefficiencies. I think there's both sides of it. Yes, I think with less people and with less hours in the day, we can get even more done. But I fear that we're going to lose a part of our company culture and what makes us so unique. I mean, I will tell you, people that I've had to talk to on the phone who we have furloughed or let go have let me know, like, hey, they found other jobs, but they feel terrible leaving the company in a lurch. What if we need them in the next 4 or 6 or 9 months, and I call them back and they can't leave their current job? They'd feel terrible. And I thought, gosh, to me what an incredible place we built, what an incredible industry we have, that people feel bad about taking another job, but they have to protect their families and their incomes, and they have to do that. So I see both sides of it, of yes, we've become more efficient in some ways, but I fear that if we're not allowed to be together and do fun things, like we always had, every month we do a first Friday where we'd gather the entire company, we do a catered lunch together, one department plans it, and we'd sit down and we break bread at the same table. And I just am nervous if we can't do those things because, one, we don't have money to do them right now, and two, because people aren't physically present in the office. I don't know. It just makes me a little nervous that we might not be able to recover that same sense of purpose and collaboration that we had before.
Yeah, great point. Great point. Bud, what have you got?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. Jenny, I hadn't really thought about that, but the thing that I know is the group that you have, or probably that all of us have, they don't really have to be together 5 days a week. I think we'll come out of this markedly changed. Pandora's box is open. People do work when they're remote. As business owners, we don't have to say, well, they want to work from home. Who knows how much they're going to work? You will have those employees that will take advantage of that situation. But by and large, a committed workforce where you've got the right people in the right seats, they will work at home, they'll work here. And I think we'll come out of this with a hybrid if we allow that. And I really think that, you are in a totally different generation than I'm in, but I think that, even your generation, everyone has got to open up and just say, we need to work the way our technology allows us to work. And, some people will want to be out of the office 4 days a week and in one, others will flip flop that and may want to be take Fridays at home. So I think that's a great point that you made. I wanted to go back to, I know with David and Derek, you have some revenue. Congratulations, that's wonderful. I would love to be off 60%. That would be incredible. Our business, we're down in the neighborhood of 85 to 90%. So I looked at it like I could go PPE, but it's sort of a race to the bottom. Everybody's going to be there. Our margin's going to hold. I always doing more work for less money has never been really attractive to me in any point in my career. So at this point, at my more seasoned age, I certainly don't want to get into that. But so what we're doing is taking a little more time to kind of retool and look at our business. And we found this marvelous book. And one of the reasons I'm going to ask this is, has anyone else used this to implement system? It's called Traction. And that's something that we've all read, the leadership team, and we're just starting to work through, that kind of gives you a different way to look and become more efficient in your organization. And I'm wondering if that's something that, it kind of sounds like Derek and David, you've done that, and I'm sure, Jenny and Carol and Robin are looking at those things as well, and Jen, but just wondering if anyone else has used this book or done it. Unfortunately, I've got a hard stop at a little bit before 1, so that's a question. And the other question I'd like, the big one, which is probably on your agenda, Jen, is everyone's perspective on when they think shows will come back. I remember in March, when we did our layoffs at the end of March, thinking, gosh, if IMTS happens, we can still salvage the year. It's probably going to be great, but let's kind of stay tuned and see if that happens quickly. That was, we realized that was not going to be the case. So are we a year away from opening? Are we 6 months away? What does everyone feel? And I think in different parts of the country, there's really a different vibe going on. I know here in Chicago, McCormick's not going to open for a while. Florida, Orange County, that might be available now. I don't know, but so that's a question I'm hoping that I could get an answer to before I've got to leave in a few minutes. So that's it.
All right. Well, and we can also put it in the parking lot too and come back to it, Bud, because I do think, that is top of mind for a lot of us for sure. And, you know, it feels a little magic 8-ball at this point, I think, in some respects. And in others, you know, it seems quite, you know, possible and right even at this juncture. So, so I did jot it down, and I do have both of those noted. And it may be a good reason. I've been toying with the idea of setting up a LinkedIn group for our classic conversations, and maybe even beyond our group here, but all the other groups as well, so that we can engage with everyone. And so that might be something that is a good piece for that level as well. Really quick, I know Carol and Robin both had their hands up, so Carol, we'll jump to you quickly if we can, because we're running up against our clock.
Yeah,
here,
I know.
Bud
So,
mentioned.
and we had kind of moved on to other conversations, but when we were talking about work dynamics and our employees and how they're working together, the big thing I've observed is that my clients are going through the exact same exercises and emotions. And I think that's really going to change the solutions that we provide for our clients. I don't think they're going back to exhibit programs as they were previously, and that we need to really work and help them through that process. And I think this kind of, people talk about hybrid models. I think it's going to be working through best practices, and then also understanding that our clients are having the same kind of layoffs and job changes and emotional upheaval and working from home and everything else. So I think that really plays into our relationships.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Robin.
I was going to answer, my thoughts on what Bud was asking. In my personal opinion, I think I just try to be real, and until those borders are open and there's a vaccine, I just don't see that people are going to feel, that they can afford to do a show. Because there's always a lot of international, attendees, international exhibitors. And so, I hope that's very soon. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to be as hopeful as possible about it. But I also wanted to mention that, one of the things that has been, like you were just saying, Carol, our clients are going through changes. I have not in my whole life seen so many people displaced in their jobs. And so, this has been a good time for me to keep up. I mean, I had a business going where I couldn't even keep up with the phone calls and the emails and the texts and everything, and it just came to a dead halt. So now the first thing I did is contact everybody and say, hey, how are you? And, not, I want business. How are you? And then I'm finding, oh, wow, you don't work there anymore. Okay. And just keeping up with people and trying to, touch base with them and just create that relationship in a better way than I had before, to be honest with you. And then the other thing I've been doing is talking to my international vendors, because I think it's interesting to see what they're doing. For instance, there's a company called Expo Global. They're out of Russia. They're actually worldwide, but I was talking to my Russian contacts and I said, what are you guys doing in this pandemic? And they're making furniture like you guys are, and making a ton of money off of it. They're so excited about it. They've really done a good job with that, and I thought that was so cool, to hear that they had, they're looking forward and saying, hey, we now know how to do this. This is part of our offering, and we'll be doing this going forward, even when things turn back around. Some of my counterparts in Spain that I work with, a little sadder note, but it's a need. They had to go help. I mean, they have the shop. They made coffins. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
They made a lot of coffins. And then a friend and client of mine in St. Louis, I wanted to mention this too. This is kind of a neat idea. they are going to exhibit houses to get crates made because they're so busy. You know, you got to remember there are industries, food and medical, that are just slammed right now and they can't keep up. You know, food distributors, all that. And so I know that an exhibit house in St. Louis is making crates like crazy, which is keeping people going, which is fantastic. You know, it is. It's thinking outside of the box. How can I help somebody else? You know, and
Yeah.
you know, who would have ever thought? I mean, I am more friends with my competitors than I've ever been. It's really, you know, it's been really nice. You know, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. Thanks, Robin. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think that's super important, and that's kind of why we're all here together in this meeting. You're taking off, Bud?
Great to see
All right. Before you guys jump off, I just want to say one quick thing. Bud, you can go ahead and go. I'll catch up with you in a minute. But if you can let me know, maybe in the chat box, your preference, like how you feel like was using Teams successful or not so successful? Because as I said before, I'm committed to doing this. I don't really appreciate the lags in the video, so that's not super fun, and I don't seem to experience those same things when I'm on Zoom. So we can certainly take a look at that if that's something that the group feels strongly about. I'm certainly in support of that. So just let me know either send me an email offline or let me know in the chat. That would be really great. And I appreciate everybody getting curious with us, because I feel like the getting curious is partly, and this is, you know, this could be me having a lot of time to spend working on my mental health as well during this time. But I think that for me, curiosity helps keep the fear away, right? It helps temper the fear. So if I can approach people and the interactions that I have with everyone with a sense of curiosity as to why something is occurring, or you know, just instead of being in that constant imparting of knowledge, right? And as an educator, that kind of is counterintuitive for me a little bit. So stepping into that and really getting curious. And so I really appreciate you guys all being willing to step into that place with us and get curious and ask questions and you know, share ideas and all of that good stuff with each other. I think is commendable and really important. So we're about 3 minutes after. I'm going to let y'all go. Again, thank you so very, very much. And if you have any questions or any information that you think of afterwards, you know, like I said, send Jim or I a text or send us an email. And we'll look forward to connecting in November already.
Great to see everybody.
Bye-bye.
See
Thank
everybody.
you.
Guys.
Thank you. Appreciate you so.
Thanks, everyone.